Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I really hope you all had an amazing week which has passed by. And let me just quickly dive into the topic that I'm supposed to discuss today. And before I start, let me again share a small incident which sort of gave me set a very good example of how I could use this situation to explain my today's topic. Now, a couple of weeks ago, there is one house help, or I won't say house help, it's like, the housekeeping staff, one of the housekeeping staff in my office. She was having a discussion with the higher up saying to increase her working hours. For me, it was a little bit of a surprise because I knew that recently her son has gone abroad and the daughter has got a really good post in a pharmaceutical company, but in a different state, not in our state, but in a different state. And I'm like, now is the time that probably she has to retire, and enjoy her life because the children are going to be able to support them financially. They were in a bad financial situation for quite a long time, but now that everyone is like getting a good job, it was like I thought now it will be like a good time that probably she'll ask for a retirement. And now she's asking for a increasing her working hours was not something that was expected. So I just happened to ask her that how come like you're wanting to increase your working hours, whereas everyone around is expecting that probably you're gonna resign or something. And then she goes ahead and she's like, who is going to spend time with that person? And that person is definitely the husband. And I took it really, in a some of like, in a fun way. And I was like, yeah, now is the good time, now you don't have any tension or anything of finances and all, and you can have a like, spend good time with each other and probably go around, see some places or something like that. And on that particular, statement of mine, she got really like sort of angry and serious and said some things. And I hadn't seen this behavior of hers for quite a long time because as a person, she's a very jolly lady and she likes to correct jokes and make fun and, fun on herself, fun of others as well. So this is her nature. So I was like, what happened suddenly? Why did she react in this way? And then it just happened and it went. And I continued with my work. And the next day, when I think I was like, because some issue was there with the lift, I was taking the stairs and I met her, she was like, mopping the floor. And she just, told me to, she just said, took my name and she's like, I'm really sorry, yesterday, probably I spoke a bit rudely to you. And then I was like, no, that's fine, no issues. Maybe, you never know, like, what is happening in someone's life, right? So sometimes people's behavior also might change. And then she told me the remaining part. And she's like, when I just got married and I had come to this place, that is my husband's place, that, around 25 years ago, uh, this man, she's like, he never gave me the time. He never put that effort in sitting and talking with me or creating that sort of a bond wherein, you have to feel that emotional dependence on your partner. That was never there. And initially she felt really, sad and she was like a little bit depressed also, like, where have I come? Because he was really more connected with his actual family, that is the parents, mother, father, and the siblings, or then he used to give the excuse of the work. And there was like completely she was not there anyway on her his priority list, or you can say, some he never gave that sort of time to her. Okay, now I have to also I have a wife and I need to give her time, I have to build that emotional bond with her. And 2 3 years it went like that. Then they had children, so she got busy with the kids and their upbringing. Plus they were not doing too good financially, so she had to also take up a job. So her time went, job, then look after the children, and and that only like most of her time had gone. And what happened for this particular guy is the her husband, he was initially connected with the parents. Time went by, they got old, they passed away. Then he created probably the bond with the children. Okay, so children were like the son and the daughter was some, probably the daughter in his case, was somebody who was like, making him feel more connected to the family. And now she's also gone out of the state to work in a different state, and the son has definitely taken his route to go abroad. And now the cases of both husband and wife are there at home, and husband who is not used to living with that void of emotional no emotional bond is finding it very difficult. He is trying to create that bond with the wife now, and at this age the wife is angry, you know she's angry because the whole of the time when she needed him he wasn't there. Now he's like suddenly trying to create that bonding between both of them, and that is annoying her, and she's finding everything that he's doing is very annoying, and that's the reason she wants to spend more of the time away from the house. And this is something gives you a whole picture of why it is important to nurture relationships when they are young. It's something similar, I have also seen happen, which happens with which has happened with couple of my school friends, my college mates, and even with my colleagues. I have observed, they do have this conversation, so they do hint on this side of their life, wherein the parents, one case is where the parents were working and the kids were left with relatives. Okay, back in those days, maybe 20-25 years ago, it was more of leaving the kids with the relatives, rather than, there was not much of concept of maybe having a house help. I'm not sure, but like, yeah, 25-30 years ago, it was a pattern of kids being raised by the relatives rather than somebody else from outside the family when the parents were working. And now for these kids, when the parents have become old and the parents are expecting, they should come and spend time with them, they are also now showing the same side of emotions, what was shown to them when they were young. I'm giving you money, I'm giving you this, that you can do, be by yourself. And same thing the children are doing now. Or even in those cases, another relative cases where the parents are there with the children, but they just feel, giving food, clothing, and shelter, and maybe giving education. That's it. The part of theirs is done. There is no need of creating any sort of emotional bond or giving them the time, sitting with them, talking with them, how their school was, how their education or whatever, how the studies are going. There's no such talk. It is just like, living under the same roof. And again, when these kids have grown up, suddenly the parents are expecting, the children should come and sit with us and talk with us, like, spend time with us, because now they are retired and they're expecting the bond to happen. Now, this thing can be related to one thing. I feel something in similar lines. When we are, working, we are always trying to save money for our retirement life, right? Monthly, some people try to save, some people try to save quarterly or yearly, but they do make it a point to invest money in some sort of account which they can use later in their life, in their post retirement life, right? Or even when you get this monthly pension, you are getting the monthly pension because you have been working in certain company, giving the company the time for X amount of years, right? And this is a similar thing, isn't it? That if you are, see, if you had never invested the money, you had never invested given the company the time, do you think the company would have given you a pension just by sitting at home? Some cases maybe, I'm not sure, but yeah, that doesn't make sense, right? You have to put in something initially so that in later you can get something. When you are not, probably you are getting a little bit weaker, you won't be able to do the things the way you're doing right now. But yeah, sometimes, especially in this emotional side of things, I have seen people just expecting that we won't do anything, we won't have any sort of emotional investment or anything in trying to build a bond or anything. And then suddenly, someday in future, when you're getting old, when there is nothing else to do, you feel, oh, now the bond has to be there. We have spent X amount of years. Now, in that X amount of years, how much of time you have given to that particular relationship is a different equation altogether. but then they want the output without putting any efforts. They just want the output. See, even when you're building a house, right, depending upon how tall building you want to build or how big apartment you want to build, the initial stages, you have to put a solid foundation. Now when you're putting the solid foundation, it is the very first step in your initial days. So if you're not going to put in good amount of time in the initial years of your child in trying to give them the emotional sort of trying to build that emotional dependence between both of you all, like the child and the parent, if you don't do that, definitely expecting it at a later stage in life will be like, I don't know, you're just thinking that out of nowhere, boom, something will get created. Same thing goes with building new relationships. Like you are recently into a relationship, you are recently married, and now you think, that's done. I don't have to put in any effort. It is going to happen on its own. So without putting any good amount of foundation, how can you expect a really tall building to be built and it is going to stand all the tough times, all the challenges that the life is going to throw you? If your foundation is not good, definitely the building is gonna collapse someday or the other when whatever natural calamity might hit, isn't it? So this was something I had thought about, you know, quite long ago, but I didn't have a really good example how I could start with it. And that is how we ignore this one really good, really important aspect of our life, that is trying to create the emotional bond at the initial stages. It just goes, I think, either it is getting ignored or people think it is not important. They feel there won't be any effect of it later. Things will be taken care of automatically and it is just gonna happen. Okay, my thing is just the superficial things that I do, which are again, they are necessary, though you call it like the materialistic things, but yeah, they are also important. But along with that, you have to create the bond, I feel, the emotional bond, or create those good amount of chains in your relationship which are going to bind it together really strong. And it will also be your support system when you are no longer able to do what you are doing right now, or later in your life where things are going to be not as easy as it is right in your current stage. In the later stage, those bonds are gonna work out. Now for this particular lady, what has happened is she knows how to live with the void. She knows how to live with this void of emotional, that there is nobody around with whom you emotionally bonded to, and she knows how to live in this situation. Problem is with the man right now, that he doesn't know how he is gonna spend his time with, parents also not there now. Children have also gone for their respective education or career purpose, and it's just him and his wife. So this is the whole, I won't say it is a bad situation, but yeah, something that you can take care of. I know you might be putting in lot of efforts, or there are some people who have put lot of efforts in building a certain relationship, giving it a time. Some have not worked out. That's also true. But see, if you're gonna put zero input inside, you're definitely gonna get a zero output outside. If you're putting 5 input on one side, you can at least expect that 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 or more than 5 you might get on the other side, depending upon how the equation is working, isn't it? So if you're not going to do put anything effort from your side, you cannot expect that some effort will be coming from the opposite side out of nowhere, right? But yeah, that's how sometimes certain families, certain relationships in our current society till date work. And it is said that, nobody thinks much about it, and some people have got so used to living with it, and they are like just going with the flow. They say we are going with the flow. This is how it is, and we are just gonna live the life this way. They have seen their parents doing it. They are gonna do it the same, and I don't know. Then it just turns out to be a blame game later in life. she's not giving me the time, he's not giving me the time, my children are not giving me the time, and nobody goes and sees the past history. People just see what is being right now being on display. Nobody sees what has got built up over this whole years, that the effect is being shown right now. They're just looking at the current situation. No history, nothing, what has led to what, nobody knows. So yeah, if you are really interested in building a good bond, if you are really interested in having a really strong, tall building, put a good foundation of a emotional bond in your life. Okay, and then build up your relationship over it. And please make sure to build this emotional bonding at the initial stages. Maybe if it is with your children, maybe in the initial years of their life, or maybe as in how much you can, till that they are able to understand that what is this emotional bonding is. And with your new relationships, definitely at the initial stages of your whatever the new relationship that you have started, whether it's just a relationship, whether it's your married life, try to build it at the initial stage, because later on, XYZ number of years ago, after XYZ years later, I don't think anything can be built, because some sort of image gets created of one person in other person's mind, and then that is really difficult to break, until you do something really out of the box and make the person feel really special. Okay, I'll leave you all with this for this particular weekend. I hope I'm able to tell the whole concept clearly, because right now I'm again not in my usual place as well. So I just thought of making this video, it was like, just do it however it goes, and whatever that points which are there in my mind, I just thought of just putting it across to you all. I hope you all liked it, and I'll see you next week. Till then, bye bye.